It's a detective drama at its finest, and season 2 will premiere on Fox UK with some brand new faces. One of them is actually here with me today. I'm joined by Murder in the First actor, AJ Buckley. Hi AJ, welcome to A-List. You've got a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you know, that's what sort of fuels you for this, and you know, you can't complain when there's work.
Yeah, season 2's just premiered, and this is actually your first appearance in the whole series of Murder.
Yeah, on the show, and it's, I think, you know, a show like this is a role that I was really excited about, with Stephen Bochco being, you know, the executive producer, and his sort of lineage of, you know, great television, and I've never played a cop before, and so leading up to this show, as opposed to other shows I've been on, I'm really excited about this.
So what can you tell us about your character?
What can I tell you without giving too much away? My character comes from the Vice Department. I play, my character's name is Junior. I play Hildy's younger brother. He is got a lot of, how would you describe it? He's just dark. Everything about him. He worked in a world that was unpoliceable, prostitution and narcotics, and he was a complete maniac there, but he was a great cop. He had his own sort of law, push the envelope. He's brought over to homicide because there's an incident that happens that all the departments come together, and then he's brought in to work with his sister, but there's this dynamic between the two of them, of brother and sister. They hate each other. She also knows what a fuck up he is and his problems and all the things, and I don't know, he's just dark. He's not a good person. So. Doesn't believe that women should be cops. He's racist. He's an alcoholic. He completely drinks on the job all the time. He has prostitute, like he has all these. He's
a big mess.
He's a big mess, but yet he thinks that his sister doesn't know how. You know, he thinks he's better than his sister. It's a great role. You have brothers and sisters?
I've got an older brother.
So you know that the banter you have back and forth.
Yeah.
The writers really captured that truth of how brother and sister would talk within a work environment.
Yeah.
But yet at work she's my superior, so I had to respect her. But yet there was this.
Going back to, you said that your character Marty, he's racist.
Yes.
Obviously Hildy's partner Taye Diggs,
played
by Taye Diggs.
Yeah.
Terry English. He
Yeah.
is black, so
Yeah.
African American. So what's the meeting like between you?
Taye and Kathleen coming on the show, I mean, the whole cast, when you're a new cast member coming on, it can be dicey. You can show up, and especially with a character like mine who sort of is like a bat out of hell and shows up tons of scenes, really sort of a presence. Certain shows, people would be uncomfortable or be like, why is this guy getting all the writing or this or that? But the cast just embraced it, and Kathleen is like such a great actress to actually work against. And Taye the same. He's like, bring it. Let's go deeper. Let's push the envelope, because it's very topical right now, which everything that's happening on the news.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I'm playing that guy. That is that guy, and some scenes were really hard to do. You know, because you're like in these scenes, you're like, this is horrible. Why am I saying these things? But you know, it's part of a scene, and it's, you know. Yeah, but at the end of it, Taye and we'd always like start laughing, like, this is so crazy. But it really intense. They push it. I don't want to give too much away. They just the scenes that I had between Taye and Kathleen, I felt for the first time in a long time as an actor, I was really pushed to a side of me that I didn't really like. Yeah.
Did you have to give each other a hug after filming?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. There was a lot of love going around after. I was just like, I'm so sorry. I would sit and like, sometimes I'd cut. I'd be like, I can't say this. This is like horrible.
Season 2 premiere features a school bus shooting, you know, when I saw that, it's something that you could just read in a newspaper headline at the moment. It's so current. So how was it kind of acting?
It was absolutely horrific being on set that day, because. Yeah, it's even hard to talk about. It's just, we all sort of asked at first when we read the script. I remember asking the showrunner, and I was like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we sort of exploiting this sort of violence? And he explained it was, you know, this is you want to approach it in the most sensitive way, but in order to understand it, we need to talk about it. And where shows in the past have they've only been able to do it for like one episode of a shooting and talk about it. This goes into 12 episodes of why someone, a child, would do that. and goes into their home lives and like their school life and the dynamics and where they went wrong and where they just. So I think the way that it's done, at the beginning I was like, whoa. Even when I saw the premiere of it, it was hard to watch, and I'm not a big, that's
Gore fan. Well, it's not so
no,
much
it's
gore,
just kids and guns and especially having a child. It's just it's hard to. So
I understand there are two storylines going on simultaneously. So this is storyline A that viewers will see in the premiere.
Yeah.
So what's the other storyline?
There's dirty cops, and there's something within our police force that there's a cancer, and there's some things going on that we don't know who and none of the cast knew. When each day we get the new script, we didn't know who or when or anything that was happening. It was like the game of, have you ever played Clue before?
Yeah.
So it was like playing Clue, because we were like, who is it? And the writer's like, I'm not telling you.
Can't tell you.
I'm like, they just tell you who your character is, what your rough arc is, and sort of where you're going, but they wouldn't tell you anything. So I was like, is it me? Is it Navarro? Is it Rafi? Is it, and none of us knew literally until the last episode. And we're like, like what? So. But,
was that different for your compared to the roles that you've done before? I know you was in CSI.
Well, this was for me, I think where I want to go in my career, this is definitely a role that I think I saw something and I felt something. I was like, wow, this is a fun journey. CSI was such a great experience. It was 8 years on a show that was, at one time the biggest franchise in the world, and I was just there to give information. So there was no real investment artistically. And then when the show was coming to an end, I sort of had this anxiety attack of like, oh my God, I'm going to be playing this nerdy guy, because on Supernatural I was playing this nerdy guy. And that wasn't me. I grew up as a boxer and a fighter, and just I went looking for a script, and I found this one script it was called North of Hell, that's now Home Sweet Hell. I optioned the property. It took me 4 years from sort of finishing off, when I was literally finishing CSI, to actually getting it cast, made. I gained 45 pounds for the role, because I figured by the time I got off CSI, the role that I played, I didn't want people to recognize me. I wanted to kind of change their idea that I wasn't this nerdy guy. I wasn't the nerdy guy on Supernatural. I could play this sort of Hell's Angel biker guy. In a way, I feel like the hustle that I did to get this movie made on my own, put my own money into it, over 150 grand on my own money, like literally broke the bank on this belief in this one project. And I didn't make any money back on it. The movie fucking tanked because Katherine Heigl didn't want to do press, and not a big fan of her, but whatever. But it was one of those things. But the bigger picture is, it sort of changed my trajectory of where I was going. I feel really fortunate, man, of my journey so far. I've never played the same role twice, and I've got to sort of transform myself in each sort of role. Look at a guy like Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. Right? Not putting myself in the same boat, but he was doing rom-coms and his career was done. Yeah. And he had to take it upon himself to grab the bull by the horns and say, this is where I want to go. And you draw a lot of inspiration from guys like that, and you can sort of choose where you want to go.
It seems that there's not a trend, but a kind of resurgence of crime drama on TV. Yeah. You've had True Detective, Murder in the First, The Following.
How good was that, right?
I know, amazing.
And The Killing?
Yeah, The Killing. I was just going to say The Killing. Oh, yeah. Why do you think people are so interested in that genre now, or why they're doing so well at the moment?
I think how it's being done. And I think TV's changed in the sense of, I'm a binge watcher. To be part of something like that, and what they actually found out with Murder in the First, it almost got canceled. And then the numbers came back and said, this is a binge, people binge watch this.
And also, I think Murder in the First is very different to the other shows, because the story is done in 12 episodes, as opposed to kind of, carrying it on throughout multiple seasons. Do you think that will be important to its longevity?
That's a really good question. I think, the mold of procedural dramas for big network shows is that everything's contained. Something happens in the teaser, and at the end, it's done. Yeah. and that's in 45 minutes with commercial breaks. It's an hour. So, but again, I think TiVo and people's DVR and all this, I think that's changing.
Yeah.
So I think that network sort of style is not as people. What we've always said when we were doing the procedural dramas, and again, it's nothing to knock them. We're like, people are they're more intelligent than this, and I feel like sometimes with network TV, they really try to explain what is going on, as opposed to cable and these Netflix shows. They make you think, and they really appreciate how intelligent the audience is, and they love that hook. Because I know when I read these scripts, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Am I the guy? And I go to the right, I'm like, am I the guy? Yeah. Just tell me, I just need to know how they're like, not telling you nothing. I'm like, oh my God.
In some ways, it's probably harder to scale down a story into just 12 hours, essentially.
Oh yeah, like we could have literally, I remember on like episode 8, I'm like, so how are we ending this? Because there's a lot of open storylines.
Is it gonna end?
Yeah, we're like, we need 22. But they figured out a way just to, Stephen Bochco's like, don't worry. It's gonna, you're like, all right.
So will Junior be back for a second season?
You'll have to wait and see. Yeah, he will. You have to wait, but he will.
Cool. Thanks very much.
That was really fun.